What's going on, Steelers Nation? All I can say is wow. Game of the week definitely delivered in more ways than one. Even though it almost gave me a heart attack, I'm sure you guys felt, the same way on the edge of your seats, as this one kind of unfolded. But Pittsburgh goes on the road, knocks off a good Washington team, overcomes a double-digit second half deficit to take the lead in the final few minutes in this one. There's a lot to dive into, so much so that I'm already kicking myself for the amount of plays and just cool nuggets and things that I enjoyed from this one that I'm going to forget while recording this. But it's 5 a.m. right now where I am. Just woke up early this morning, instantly popped on the replay of the game as I kind of wait for the all 22. This was a great game, man. It was one that I was really looking forward to all week, just in terms of like the film prep that I put into it. I really enjoyed watching Washington's offense, and I was excited to see Pittsburgh go up against them just because I thought it was a huge test. Wanted to see how they responded. I'm really just happy for the players, the fans. It just feels good to be in these types of games again. That felt like a playoff game yesterday. That was a cool atmosphere too. I know a lot of Steelers fans traveled, showed up to the game. It was awesome. This is a good team, y'all. I'm ready to say it. There's no caveats or anything like that are necessary at this point. 7-2 in sole possession of the AFC North lead right now. This is a good football team. But just real quick before we dive into this one, just please make sure that you like, subscribe, drop me a comment. Just a quick, easy way to support the channel. I really appreciate it. Want to talk really first off just about the defense. I thought the defense played extremely well. I know there was some shaky moments in the middle of the game. Washington took advantage of a double dip opportunity before the half. They got the ball. 15 play drive, 94 yards. Obviously, that was kind of like a slow burn drive in the first half. They ended up punching that in for a touchdown. And then really the opposite of that happened. Coming out of the gate, they get that long play to Terry McLaurin, 5 plays, 74 yards, score out of the half. I mean, that just kind of an unfortunate break, but I thought largely this defense played really well in this game. I think the score, you would look at this thing as 28-27. You would say, well, it kind of turned into a little bit of a shootout. I don't actually know that that's really the case. Like watching the game back this morning, really not how it felt. Both these offenses kind of struggled through stretches of this game. Really, both of them were kind of gifted a touchdown apiece, really just due to special teams gaffes. Zacchaeus muffs the punt. The Steelers score obviously right after that. He muffs the punt. It sets them up in their own red zone. And then the Steelers obviously had the very unfortunate James Pierre drop on the punt. I know a lot of people are questioning like the fake punt. Is that a good thing or not? It was clearly something they worked on through the week just to check. I don't have an issue with going for it there. You just got to catch the ball. I mean, could it have been maybe a little bit better a throw? Sure, hit him in stride, but Pierre even admitted he went through that play in practice this week, caught the ball every time, just didn't catch it when it mattered. It is what it is. But, I thought that both of the defenses in this game did some really good things, starting with Pittsburgh. The game plan was very Lamar Jackson-esque, just in terms of the way that Terrell Austin called this game. I thought he called a really strong game, man, to be honest with you. I wasn't really sure of how they were going to attack them, but they actually blitzed. They sent 5 or more rushers, I think, on 19 of Daniel's dropbacks in this game. And, it paid dividends. They played a lot more man coverage. We saw this a little bit more against the Giants last week, but I just think this is kind of the way that they typically play Lamar, trying to get more rushers. And I thought that the rush lane integrity was really good. We talked about some of the things that Washington's done over the course of the season that's just made their offense uber efficient. The Jaden Daniels scrambles, 327 yards coming into this week, by far an NFL high. I don't even know that he had a scramble yesterday. I think that he finished with 5 yards rushing. He had 1 4-yard run. They had a quarterback draw called a little stick draw that he ended up gaining a yard on. Keanu Benton ended up falling off the block and stopping him for a key play there. I thought just in general, they didn't they made other guys beat them. And that was a key, something we talked about. But just the rush lane integrity was good. They got some spectacular performances, honestly, in the front seven in this one. I thought Alex Highsmith was very good. We'll see what his status is from a health perspective. He was on crutches in the locker room. The ankle injury looked pretty nasty, but, you never know, man. These dudes are absolutely freak athletes. But just some things that I liked in terms of individual performances. Cam Hayward continues to absolutely dominate. I personally think that Cam's probably been their best player on defense this season, which is absolutely absurd to think about on a defense that has this much star talent, but also just where Cam's at with this age. I mean, the positive uptick in terms of his pass rush productivity this season has just been phenomenal. I honestly, like, when he signed the extension, I liked the extension on the surface just because I thought it was fair for what we knew that he was going to be, which is an elite run defender. But the fact that he's getting after the passer at this rate right now, I thought that he made the play of the game right before the fourth quarter began. I think it was the last play of the third quarter. He ends up just absolutely wrecking shop. Beats the left guard really off the snap. Shows really good burst. Washington's up 6 at that point. They're on the edge of field goal range. It's about to be a 2-score game on second down, and he forces them in to a third and long situation. They punt it, and they never get back in field goal range again. And I just think that play in general. I actually was just kind of curious. I went to look this up on Next Gen Stats. At the time of that sack, Washington had an 86% win probability. So, I mean, like, that's a huge play in the game, man. I think after he made it, I think it dropped to like 76 or 74%. But yeah, I mean, those individual type plays, he had another really impressive rush early in the first half for another sack. I mean, just continues to defy the laws of Father Time. And then also, Patrick Queen was balling. I mean, just an absolutely fantastic game from my guy PQ. I thought he was everywhere, especially in the first half. Multiple TFLs in the backfield against the run. His athleticism was on full display. Had a really nice play in coverage over the middle of the field. Honestly, the most impressive play to me that he made was they had one zone read run with Jayden Daniels to the left sideline, and they get out leveraged on the perimeter, and he ends up tracking Daniels down to push him outside. And it's a 1st and 10 play, gains 4 yards. And yeah, that's a successful play for the offense. But having watched so many Commanders games leading up to this week, I haven't seen anyone run Jayden Daniels down. I said that I thought he was like the fastest straight line quarterback in the league right now. For PQ to really run him down and hawk him down and get him out of bounds right there without that thing turning into a first down or an explosive play like we've seen all season was just really impressive. I just thought that these were the type of games that I think that you go out and pay a guy like Queen for, and he really delivered. This was his best game as a Steeler by far. I think he's been trending in the right direction for several weeks now, after a little bit of a slow start really for him, but just some of the things he can do from an athletic perspective, just very, very rare on the defensive side of the ball. Just some other things too. Like I really did like the game plan, a little bit more aggressive, more blitzes, more man. I do think that left them a little bit susceptible on the perimeter. Joey Porter Jr. had a really tough go of it in this one. Terry McLaurin kind of did what Terry McLaurin does. He's a star receiver. He got the better of him on the day for sure. A couple explosive plays. I mean, I will say, though, that like the slot fade that Daniels hit to him in the second half, I mean, you can't cover that any better. I think the big thing with Porter is like he was in good position on a couple of those receptions to the point where it's like, kind of you just win some, you lose some, but he's got to start to adjust faster to the way that the referees are going to call this game. Like this officiating crew came into the week calling a ton of DPI stuff. And like he was just really lazy with his technique, to be honest with you, in the first half. I mean, the go ball to Noah Brown down the right sideline before halftime. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like Noah Brown is a good player. I mean, I petitioned in every single format that I had for the Steelers to just sign him for multiple times, by the way, this offseason. He's a good player, but like he's not a burner. He's not capable of running by you. And the fact that he's like getting into a grabbing match on the sideline instead of just looking and leaning and compressing that space on the white is just really frustrating. It's just a lack of focus. And then on the goal line too, he's matched up with Terry McLaurin's running a fade. Those type of situations really favor Porter with his length and his size. He has the advantage there, and just getting really sloppy and basically hugging McLaurin on the play. And is it a little bit ticky-tacky with some of the stuff? Yeah, but like you've got to adjust quicker than that. So it was a tough day at the office, I thought, for Porter. Really, the secondary as a whole, Dante Jackson gave up a couple catches in this one. He left early due to a hamstring injury. We'll see what that looks like. Jace Pierre comes in. James Pierre, at this point in his career, like just a special teams guy. So like you kind of knew that they were going to be able to get after him a couple plays. He got beat on the final drive as well. Luckily, Daniels underthrew the ball. And it ended up being an incompletion. I will say, like, another thing, too, that didn't necessarily show up in the box score, but, like, Cam Sutton got beat a couple times on crossers over the middle. Again, if you want to play this style of ball, you're going to leave your corners and trust them to do their thing one-on-one. It's just worth noting because I think that this is going to be a similar game plan that we're going to see next week in Baltimore. And Baltimore has, maybe they don't have a guy like Terry McLaurin probably on that caliber right now, at least. But they do have some guys that can separate versus man coverage with speed, with route running, with quickness at the top of the break, and just a little bit something to keep in mind. I'm interested to see what the tape looks like, but I thought the pass rush was good. Daniels was getting the ball out pretty quickly, like 2.5 seconds. They did some interesting stuff too, like later in the game. I think it was in the fourth quarter. They had Watt, Highsmith, and Preston Smith all on the field at the same time. They had Watt and Highsmith actually over the guards, which I don't know that I've actually seen them do this year. And Hayward kicked out to the edge, Preston Smith out on the edge, and that was one where they were able to quickly compress the pocket, and it ended up it was a 3rd and long check down, I believe. So yeah, got them off the field, and then they get the ball back in really good field position. So I thought that there was definitely some good things. I mean, you just look at some of the numbers from like a success rate standpoint and everything. Like Washington had a 45% success rate. That was pretty solid. 52% success rate on the ground, but a lot of those were just like really short conversions. But 41% success rate through the air, that was much, much lower than what Washington had come into the game really averaging. They were pretty much top 3 points per drive, EPA per play, success rate, all that stuff coming into the week. And, the Steelers did a really good job just slowing them down and really making them earn it. Even that 15 play before the half. I mean, it was just a really methodical drive that they kind of caught some breaks on. The Steelers had time of possession for like 36 minutes in this one. I thought that was key. Just look at like the yards per play figures, 4.1 yards per play. It's awesome, man. Like to do that against that caliber of an offense. I mean, this is just pretty impressive performance, to be honest with you. I mean, their punter, Tressway, I looked it up because I was like, I don't think that they've had a game like this all season long. And they really hadn't. Tressway, their punter, had punted, I think, 19 times coming into the game. So through basically half the season. He punted 6 times yesterday, and then they turned the ball over on downs on their final possession. So it's like, I mean, what more can you really ask for it? It just kind of goes back to the thing that I was kind of talking about a little bit earlier in this week. The Steelers are going to have to score points against these good teams. I mean, the days of like holding like really strong offenses and the type of offenses and quarterbacks that they're going to play down the stretch, the days of winning those games, 17-16 are not really. I mean, it's just not really realistic. It's not a safe way to play in 2024. And luckily, the Steelers offense did enough yesterday, especially from an explosive play standpoint, to kind of do some really good things, especially in the second half. I thought Russ, as the game kind of progressed, got off to a little bit of a slow start. I mean, we could start talking a little bit about George Pickens, too. I thought Pickens was phenomenal in this game. The catch that he had in the red zone, it's a really good call because you're getting man coverage. He's running a corner route versus inside leverage. The ball, Russ gives him a chance. The ball is actually left inside for him to be able to contort his body and make a spectacular play kind of in midair. I mean, it's almost become normal. Like I didn't even really have like all that much of a reaction to it when he did it, just because I'm so used to seeing him make those types of plays. And, he finished his game. What he finished? 5 catches, 91 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he was a huge factor, especially like for teams like this that want to play man coverage. And he's also drawing the safety help, which we can kind of talk about down the stretch. But he was really good in this one. A couple of plays that I really liked from him and Russ in general. They had a really nice play that I liked in the second half of this game. They came out, they're running 2 of them, really my favorite like concepts paired together. They're running shock to the right side, 3-man concept. It's hitch, seam, and then a little option route from Freiermuth. And on the backside, they're running what's called a bow concept. So it's a little 5-yard sit route. It's kind of designed to kind of make the linebackers gravitate towards the sit, and you kind of throw the ball over the middle of the field. Russ hits Pickens in stride. It's a 34-yard play. He hits him right at the sticks, like in rhythm, and then Pickens ends up truck sticking the safety and does like his normal jumping around stuff. And it's an explosive play. It was a really nice throw from Russ, who had another really nice throw over the middle of the field, hitting him on a slant in this one as well. But the linebackers and coverage was something we talked about, especially like Bobby Wagner. If you go back and watch that play on the bow, like Wagner gets no depth in his drop, and like that's just something that was on film. And credit to them for like going to it, especially in a moment like that where they really needed it. But I thought that Russ in general had some really nice moments in this one. I think that you can see like they have an identity on offense right now. They ran the ball 43 times. This is a team that wants to run the ball a lot. They want to try to put Russ in a lot of situations where he's just trying to create explosive plays. I mean, that's all this passing game is right now, man. Like just try to create explosive plays. If the explosive play isn't there, just try to check the ball down. And that's, those explosive plays, those fades, they weren't necessarily falling in the first half. I think he started off the game like 0 for his first 5 on throws more than like 15, 20 yards down the field, but he hit a couple clutch ones when it really mattered. I mean, the throw to Pickens against bump and run in the fourth quarter to kind of set up the score was an excellent throw. Pickens, did a really nice job tracking the ball over his shoulder, but it's a dime from Russ. And then, of course, the play to Mike Williams down the stretch. I mean, what's happening there is the Commanders just playing again like man to man, but they're shading the post safety towards Pickens. And really, it's just a one-on-one on the bottom of the screen, and Williams does a good job just kind of running by the corner. We talked about 25 in the preview. I didn't think that he didn't look like an NFL caliber cornerback on film, and like they really went after him. That was who Pickens caught the fade up against the sideline on too. They kind of went after him multiple times in this game, but it was really cool. Like I feel really good about that play in general, but I'm just really happy for Mike Williams, he's had some really tough moments. Like obviously he struggled this year. And then like some of his struggles have almost been exaggerated a little bit just because of like where they've came from. Like he's had some tough moments, like at the end of games with him and Rodgers, he's getting blamed in the media. And for him to play literally 9 snaps and then catch the game-winning touchdown like that on a route that he literally said that he had never ran that route before in practice, just really impressive. It's also a really nice throw from Russ, like credit to him too. Like the Commanders are running a little bit of a stunt, and like he kind of dovetails his drop and almost throws like a Kobe Bryant fadeaway off his back foot, and he gets so much like air and touch on the ball, and Williams gaps the defender, but it's still like it's right in the breadbasket, man. It's a great throw. You just look at some of the numbers too, like they really back up. I mean, the offense as a whole didn't move the ball very, very efficiently throughout the day, only a 38% success rate. But they hit the explosive plays, and that's really ultimately what kind of won them the game. And I think if there are some things that I was a little bit disappointed with, just like the effectiveness of the ground game, I thought that they were going to be able to run the ball better than what they were. 32% rushing success rates, it's pretty nasty, to be honest with you. Definitely like not on par with the way that they've been running the ball in recent weeks. They did run for 140 yards, but it's really just because they ran the ball a ton. 43 rushing attempts. They had some really nice plays like early in the game. Like Harris had a couple like 8 to 10 yard gains. And then, of course, like they finally get rolling on the ground, like in the fourth quarter there. And Warren starts ripping runs. You could kind of tell that I think the Washington front was getting a little bit worn down. And that's kind of what we've talked about all season, right? Is like, you try to tackle this 235-pound back, Najee Harris, and then now they got the compliment Jaylen Warren back. You try to tackle this guy for 4 quarters. It's just not a really fun time for a defense. And I thought they started to kind of wear him out. And then Warren, unfortunately, fumbles on the goal line. And like once that fumble happened, man, like it honestly like felt like just a really big gut punch. I mean, the defense being able to stand strong there and, get them the ball back was awesome. But it felt like, that was going to be something that was going to really, really hurt them. But, the Steelers have lost games like this in recent years, man. And honestly, like there have been games like this where they're playing what I don't know that I would say that the Commanders are like a contender by any means in the NFC, but like a really, really good team, the best team, probably the best offense that they played all season. The fact that they were able to keep up with them and put together like a complete game to where there were really good things that you could take away from on both sides of the ball. It wasn't necessarily perfect. Like I said, I wish they would have ran the ball a little bit more effectively. I did think that some of the things that they were doing in terms of the way that they were moving George Pickens around was nice. Of course, on the touchdown catch, Williams is lined up as the X receiver. They got Pickens in the slot, kind of moving him around a little bit. I thought the design on Freiermuth's touchdown was really cool. They're in kind of a bunch formation at the top of the screen, and this was a play that I really liked. I'm not really sure that I've seen it run like this before, but really it's a snag concept. So you get a little spot route, usually from the number 1, and then you usually get some type of corner, and then you usually get the flat. Well, the way it usually works out is like the point man on the bunch is running the corner, and then the number 3 receiver who's off the ball is usually the guy that's like fast to the flat. They did it a little differently. They had Pickens run the corner from the number 3 spot, and then Freiermuth almost takes this like really delayed release where he like jumps off the ball backwards and then leaks into the flat. And it actually really works out because the defenders are playing at different levels, which is what you want to do when you're in man coverage. But it actually works out to where like Freiermuth backs up a little bit, and it gives Jefferson kind of time to come in and pick the guy that's guarding Pat in the flat. It was a really cool design and awesome to see, our guy 88 get into the end zone there too. So, I mean, it was an awesome game, man. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff. I thought the offensive line did some good things in pass protection too. Like it didn't feel like Um, you know, either I thought that both the fronts on both sides like had their moments, but I thought that the Steelers, gave Russ some time, especially when he needed it down the stretch, and he made some really nails throws. I think another like play that I'll kind of mention that will probably like go, I won't say forgotten about, but something that definitely deserves more love is they have on the final drive, the final touchdown drive, I should say, they get an illegal formation penalty on first down, gets them backed up. It's 1st and 15. Very next play, Najee gets hit in the backfield. I think it was by their nose tackle or something like that. So it's 2nd and 16. Next play, they're lined up and empty, and Russ kind of looks to his left. There's nothing there. He ends up kind of scrambling around and ends up finding Calvin Austin for a 13-yard gain. So you go from 2nd and 16 to 3rd and 3. I mean, those types of plays are huge because it gets you back, not only back on schedule, but it gets you into a manageable third down situation. And then the very next play, like he hits Frymouth against man coverage over the middle of the field. So, I mean, it's just like it's been cool to see like everybody I felt like in this one had like a key play or two on both sides of the ball, and there's a lot of good things, man. Definitely all I would say, enjoy this, like seriously, enjoy this. Like this is as legitimate as I've felt like the Steelers have been in several years, probably like as excited as I've been about them really since like probably the first half of 2020. And even then, you can look at that 2020 season and some of the stuff that they were doing kind of felt a little bit fluky. It was a weird season with the COVID year. And granted, this team's not perfect. They have a very specific way that they like to play and like to win, but this team's going to be a tough out, man. Like they can compete with, I feel like most of the teams in the AFC. And, like I said before, I said after the Giants game, man, like I'm like 2 weeks away from putting some like serious expectations on this team. I'm jacked up about the Baltimore game, man. I'm already like counting down the hours, man. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I'm ready to dive into the film on that one. I'm ready to talk. I could talk already about that one. So if you guys enjoyed the video, just on your way out, please make sure that you like, subscribe, drop me a comment, all that good stuff. I really appreciate the continued support for the channel. Just as a reminder, with the holidays coming up, especially, be sure to check out our channel sponsor, Homage. I'm rocking the Homage sweatshirt right now. I'm actually going to go hit the gym, go for a nice run in this thing afterwards. Super comfortable. But they got a lot of cool designs. Like I said, I'm planning on giving away some stuff here soon. I will look through the comments of the preview video. I don't think anyone guessed the correct answer, but maybe we'll just do an easier giveaway this week. Maybe not a score prediction, something easier. So, but as always, I really appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week and Victory Monday. Peace and love.